Hi everyone, it's Vicki Freed here, and I was asked by Helen and Alan to jump in for a second and let you know about my session with Alan and Helen. So I've had a issue, which I believe most of us have had for most of our lives. Many of us have affirmation cards saying, I am good enough. And we tell ourselves a lot of things that we want to counteract from something that maybe came from our childhood or came from significant people in our lives. So I had a special issue that was holding me back, and Alan and Helen could get to the root of it in one session. And what happened in one session was that they took something that I would tell myself every day, or every negative occurrence that happened, I would tell myself. And after that session, I never thought of that again. And when I would tell other people about needing to maybe do a session with Alan and Helen, they would say, well, how did they help you? And for me, I would have to stop and think, gosh, what was it that I was saying to myself? Because I honestly never ever have said it again in my head to myself since my session. It literally has been erased from my mind, except for when somebody brings it up and asks me about it, and I can tell them that through my childhood and my in one of my marriages, that I was told and reminded constantly that I was not good enough. When I went to do something very big, or to even get accepted into a college, I was told I wasn't good enough for almost anything, and I actually was. And I actually did a lot of things that people told me that I could not do because I wasn't good enough. But when things would get really, really hard, that I'm not good enough would overwhelm everything else, and I would cry. I remember during an abusive time in my marriage that I just wanted to die and thought I would commit suicide, and that as a Christian, I translated I am not good enough into God doesn't love me enough to help me out of the situation or do something good for me. So, but he is, because he brought me Alan and Helen, and I have not had that thought. I have not had those feelings. I have not had those tears. I have not had anything that when negative things happen, I never have that thought. It just doesn't even pop in my head. And so they were able to take me to a place back in my childhood where that first occurred and help me through that. And the funny part of it is when we were done with the session, Alan took a picture of me on Zoom, and he said, you look younger, because you just look like you've released so much that it actually has made you look younger. I don't know if I do now, but at the end of that session, I did. So if you are wondering if something like one session can really remove 50 years of something you've been telling yourself that was so negative and so harmful to you, yes, it can. And you don't have to say, well, it's not spiritual, it's not the right thing, or whatever. You need to decide for yourself if the last 50 years worked for you in whatever you were doing. And for me, it didn't, and no affirmation card or nothing I wrote on my mirror was going to change that. But it literally changed within a couple hours with Coach Alan and Coach Helen coaching me on how to remove that toxic thought that was overwhelming in my life. and so overwhelming that it was causing me to not be able to do things. So just wanted to hop on here and let you know that take a chance. Take a chance, listen, and go through a session, and you will find that you will have an amazing journey, and that you will find yourself in a better place at the end of that session. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope that you all have a healthy day, and that you understand that Helen and Alan are a blessing. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.